I've been painting for about 27 years, and unlike most artists I know, I was not a kid who made art particularly. I mean, I sewed a little bit, I embroidered, I had projects, gluing macaroni to coffee cans and spray painting them, but I didn't really start making art until I was 40. And I had this idea that when I retired, I would take painting classes. And thank goodness it occurred to me one day, like, why would I wait until I retire? There happened to be a community college up the hill from my house that had painting classes on Saturday morning, and I started taking painting classes. I'm Thiem, and I'm an abstract artist currently living in Meridian, Idaho. I started working in acrylic, and I have only ever done abstract art. And partly that's because, like so many people, I have this idea that I can't draw. I have since found out that if I spend any time trying to draw, I actually can draw, like I believe probably most people can, but I just have never really been drawn personally to doing representational art. So I've always done abstract art. I do think it's important to, in many ways, narrow one's focus and one's approach to art on one hand, and on the other hand, at this point, I kind of just do what I want to do. So I do work in acrylic, and I also work in cold wax. So the show actually that's coming up will be, it's almost like two shows. But the thing that's the same in both lines of inquiry are, it's really about laying down layers of, value contrast, shape contrast, not so much that the shapes are different, because almost exclusively they're four-sided shapes. I don't say squares or rectangles because I don't give a hoot about whether the angles are, in fact, I don't want the angles to be exact. And then just playing with the arrangement of them. And I know a lot of painters say this, that they work in lots of layers, but I work in lots of layers. And the early layers of any painting, whether it's acrylic or oil and cold wax, I know that those early layers, if any speck of them shows up in the final painting, it would be a surprise. So there's a way where it's not that I don't care about the final layers, but they just are what they are. Another part of my process is putting down paint, but then also taking it away. So I'm just going to grab a piece of tissue paper really quickly. And so if you lay it down and I just keep this junky brayer around and lift it up, it's just going to really do something different with the paint. And oftentimes what I'll do is, I don't want to waste this paint, so I'll just lay it down on another piece. So you can see that in the early stages, I'm not being super careful and calculating every single move. I'm just kind of being wild. And because this is going to morph. It's just this constant evolution of the painting. So you can see, like, this blue color was something that I laid down earlier and then scraped away to reveal. And there's just a lot of different things that you can do to make marks. One thing that's also funny is you're not exactly trying to recreate this painting, like what would be the point? You've already made it. But at the same time, there are aspects of this painting that you love, and you're trying to incorporate that into the next painting, and that's the challenge. Like, that's really where the learning curve is. A lot of artists talk about, like, what their work means. And I'm not saying that, whatever, that's their experience of it. To the extent that I do that, it's almost like vice versa. Like, I'll paint something and then I'll be like, oh, for me personally, I have this understanding, let's say, of my childhood experience or my relationship with my family, or, I could make a story up about, like, oh, this is like what it was like as a kid when I didn't feel seen, yada, yada. But I don't really spend a lot of time trying to make up the story. It's really as simple as, I just really like that, But one thing for sure I've noticed is that There have been artists that I've loved, or that I do love, that give me permission, because it's so easy to have an idea about what's acceptable to do, what's not acceptable to do. A bunch of the pieces that are going to be in this show are very neutral, not a lot, like these at least have a lot of shapes, you know. It took me years to give myself permission to make those paintings. I wanted to make them years ago, and I just couldn't, because I thought nobody would like them. There just has to be a time that you just get fearless enough that you can make the paintings that you want to make. And so I get a lot of permission by watching other artists make the work that they want to make, whether I like it or not, you know. It's very helpful to me.